السلام عليكم. لا تنسوا الاعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد إن شاء الله.
Ben, it's an absolute displeasure to see me standing. Well, it's absolute. I will get to my question, however.
Thank you for coming anyway.
My displeasure. Now, I'll repeat the question that I sought to ask you. You have recently been discussing a lot about the history of the occupation of Palestine. I will call it that. I know you will oppose that, but I will call it that. The occupation of Palestine.
The whole thing, right? Just to be clear?
The entirety of Palestine.
Thank you.
You may accuse me of genocide if you wish. That is not my position.
Sure, and I will, but go ahead.
Anyway, so the point about the occupation of Palestine, you have released multiple videos. You have essentially made yourself the cheerleader of Israel in a lot of sort of Western media spaces. So I watched some of your videos about the conflict and I found a number of inaccuracies. First of all, you describe in 1920, you refer to Jordan as part of Palestine historically. That has never been the case. There has never been a state of Jordan.
British Mandate Palestine, yes.
That is still not the case. Jordan has never been part or considered part of Palestine. The only time that Jordan has been considered adjacent to Palestine is part of sort of biblical mythology where Transjordan was a reason.
That's wildly inaccurate. The British Mandate had a mandate over all of Palestine, and then they separated off Transjordan and handed it to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan.
You will get your chance to reply. Let me finish. Now, the second point that you have phrased constantly and consistently, and it's quite a popular Zionist talking point, is the fact that the Arabs have rejected peace every time it was offered to them. Now, I would like, of course, there's been multiple times where peace has been offered, so let's discuss some of them. The Peel Commission. The Peel Commission entailed expelling multiple Arab families and multiple Arab communities, largely agrarian, from the land in order to create a Jewish state under a colonial authority. Now, I understand, of course, you are a Zionist, so you believe that's desirable. For the Palestinian farmers, I can imagine they would not have enjoyed that. Number two, you mentioned that that after 1948, the Arabs had the chance to negotiate and make peace with Israel. Apart from the fact that in 1956, Israel invaded the Sinai in Egypt, unprovoked, purely due to the fact that President Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal. Then, you claimed that the 1967 war was a war of extermination. But if you will read any trusted and respected historian over the 1967 war, and perhaps you may even decide to read some of the books of Moshe Dayan about the actual conflict, where he describes that Israel actually provoked the conflict and there was no chance of the extermination of Israel. Then you claimed that the 1973 war was a war of the destruction of Israel once again, which it was not. It was actually the reclaiming of the Sinai and the Golan Heights, which Israel has illegally occupied. So, you have lied multiple times. I can continue if you would wish, but I would like to ask you the question. When you lie, do you feel shame?
Thanks, President. A month has elapsed since the commencement of the unrelenting mass murder of Palestinians in Gaza. It's not a spiral of violence, Frau von der Leyen. It's genocide, openly declared and carried out by the apartheid state of Israel. Starvation, bombing, hospitals, ambulances, journalists, humanitarian routes, 10,000 dead, 1 in 200 Gazans killed, a Palestinian child slaughtered every 10 minutes for a month. And Frau von der Leyen's answer to this graveyard for children is to tell Israel to avoid civilians. Be as targeted as you can. Well, that displays some neck. You can't even call for it to stop. You can't even call for a ceasefire. Well, of course you can't, because these crimes against humanity are being carried out with your weapons, in your name, when you stood with Israel a month ago and you said you'd stand with them now and in the days to come. So don't come in here trying to wipe the blood off with belated concern. It's not just Israel's genocide, it's yours, and The Hague isn't good enough for you.
Next speaker.
Het is tijd voor sancties tegen Israël. De bommenregen is onmenselijk. En terwijl er oorlogsmisdaden worden gepleegd in Gaza, trekt Israël zich niks aan van de internationale eis voor een staakt het vuren. Binnen de federale regering roep ik mee op om Israël te sanctioneren. Hoe? Wel, het internationaal strafhof moet het lopende onderzoek naar oorlogsmisdaden kunnen uitbreiden en versterken. En er moet een onderzoek komen naar de bombardementen op ziekenhuizen en vluchtelingenkampen. Dit is oorlogsgeweld dat nooit of nooit door de beugel kan. Er moet een importverbod komen voor producten die in onze supermarkt liggen en afkomstig zijn uit de illegale nederzettingen. België mag deze schending van het internationaal recht niet steunen. Daarnaast moet het associatieverdrag van Israël met Europa onmiddellijk opgeschort worden. Er kan geen sprake zijn van business as usual. Mensenrechten zijn er voor iedereen. De Palestijnen bevinden zich in een toestand van totale uitzichtloosheid. Daarom dringt een politieke oplossing zich op waarbij Palestina als staat erkend wordt en de initiële grenzen van voor 1967 gerespecteerd worden. Ik blijf ook herhalen dat Hamas de gijzelaars vrij moet laten en we moeten de geldstromen richting deze terreurorganisatie droogleggen.
We had several other people in the country, even among the Jews, the Zionists particularly, who were against anything that was to be done if they couldn't have the whole of Palestine and everything handed to them on a silver plate so they wouldn't have to do anything. It couldn't be done. We had to take it in small doses. You can't move 5 or 6 million people out of a country and fill it up with 5 or 6 million more and expect both sets of them to be pleased.
49.
But don't think that decision to recognize Israel was an easy one. I had to make a compromise with the Arabs and divide Palestine. The Jews wanted to chase all the Arabs into the Tigris and Euphrates River, and the Arabs wanted to chase all the Jews into the Red Sea. And what I was trying to do was to find a homeland for the Jews and still be just with the Arabs.
Listen to this guy. I don't even want to call it the Palestinian flag because they're not a state, they're a territory that's about to probably get eviscerated and go away here shortly, as we're going to turn that into a parking lot.
This is U.S. Congressman Max Miller from the great state of Ohio. Now, his idea, not even Benjamin Netanyahu would dare to make such a suggestion, because he didn't leave the genocide exclusive to the Gaza Strip. No, this guy just wanted to go all the way out, get rid of everything, all the Palestinian West Side Bank, get it all done. I see a couple lines around here, Mr. Miller, yeah, what's going on? Now, Rashida Tlaib was censured in the same Congress that the schmuck serves for saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. No parking lot and no annihilation and none of this stuff was mentioned. But yet, she was censured for saying that because they say that might mean the annihilation of people of Israel, and that's anti-Semitic. Since when asking for freedom automatically means annihilation of the oppressor?
النكبة الثانية عن طريق قطع سكوت النكبة الثانية محنة فلسطين تكون انت ودينك مسخرة ومسخرة عربي طوب عربي بكبر عربي ببنتونا يهودي بين الشباب عربي ببنتونا شو يربيت ما ديك لا لو دبرت הבית שלנו. לך לתאילנד. פהם עליי, בית שלנו. מוות לערבים! מוות לערבים! מוות לערבים! מוות לערבים!
لقد حذرت مصر مرارا وتكرارا من مغبة السياسات الأحادية، كما تحذر الآن من أن التخاذل عن وقف الحرب في غزة ينذر بتوسع المواجهات العسكرية في المنطقة، وإنه مهما كانت محاولات ضبط النفس فإن طول أمد الاعتداءات وقسوتها غير المسبوقة كفيلان بتغيير المعادلة وحساباتها بين ليلة وضحاها.
And our leaders are low-life scum that screw little girls so the Jews can screw America. That's what's happening in this country. I just said it. That's what's going on in this country. And our FBI is corrupt, the Supreme Court is corrupt, the Justice Department is corrupt, the news media is corrupt, the whole country is corrupt. Because we've walked away from Almighty God and we've allowed Kabbalah practicing Jews to defile the nation. Put that video out.
We can't have a ceasefire because Israel must destroy Hamas, when Hamas operates through a network of underground tunnels, when that destruction means the blanket destruction of much life in Gaza, is to believe that there can be a military solution to an evidently political problem, that a population of 2.2 million people is penned into a small area because most of them are refugees from other parts of Palestine. Those people are placed under a colonial siege where every bit of food and water they get is at the behest of their colonizer, who can shut it down at will. So here we have politicians abroad saying, we don't have any immediate questions about any of that. We think first Israel needs to try to crush, impossibly to crush, the guerrilla operation of the resistance coming out of Gaza. And then maybe we can have a conversation about other things, only after Israel's completely destroyed the capacity of Palestinians to resist, after decades in which Israel has failed to destroy the capacity of Palestinians to resist, just like every other colonizer has, because if you wipe out an organization, another one emerges in its place because people refuse. This is something about the human spirit. People refuse to live forever on their knees. People insist on living standing up and breathing and living free. So the position that says we oppose a ceasefire now, that says let's have a humanitarian pause so for a week we'll give people food and then we'll start bombing them again and depriving them of food and water again. That position is so deeply telling because it treats dispossessed and colonized people as objects to be managed and destroyed, not as people who have rights to the kind of freedom and dignity that we have here.
I really want to thank you, Israel, for the last couple of weeks. I really want to thank you for finally liberating the American public from your grip. I really want to thank you for finally allowing people to criticize you freely without being scared. People were terrified of you, but right now they're not. The whole world is speaking out against your atrocities, against your lobby, against the control of the media. I want to thank you for uniting the whole world in support of the Palestinian people. I want to thank you for making us the #1 case in the world. I want to thank you for exposing the traitors and the cowards and the people that pretend to be for humanity, but they're nothing but conspiring and complicit for atrocities around the world. I want to thank you for finally showing the world who you really are. And I want to thank you for liberating the Palestinian people, because this is the end. I want to thank you for so many things, uniting us. What a weekend we had. We all came together and we celebrated the freedom from your grip. Eventually, everyone is going to be free from your monstrous grip.